Hi everybody, Satyrion Leafspar here. I'd like to welcome everyone that's returning, that's an existing subscriber, and new subscribers alike. This is episode 3, I believe, of Resin, Rambles, maybe even episode 4. I'll correct that problem in the title. So, this episode's going to be a little serious, a little fun, kind of a mixture of the both. But before we get started, I'm going to actually throw in a little bit of a disclaimer here. Say that some of the things that I say in this video are obviously going to be my own thoughts and opinions here. They're obviously not fact. It's just honestly how I believe. I'm not trying to pressure any of these thoughts or ideas on anybody. I would just like to kind of share what I feel about some of these topics with a lot of you guys. Some of you in which I call friends, because I know that some of you are my followers on Instagram and I talk to you on a daily basis. Some of you maybe even already know how I feel. And if you're new subscribers to YouTube or new followers on Instagram, and I kind of explain to you where I'm coming from, or maybe even where I stand on some of these topics. I'm not going to be talking about the dreaded R word if you're in the BJD community. I don't even talk about it at all, and I'm not going to. So, moving right along, I'm also going to be talking about kind of doll plans, hobby plans, some of the things that I do commission-wise, and then I'll get on a little bit more of a serious topic later on in the video. So this is Resin Rambles. So anyone that is new to my channel, this is exactly like Wine and Dollies. I've actually got a little bit of adult apple cider here wrapped in a paper towel because it's sweating everywhere. Anyways, so the first serious topic that I've got is actually community. Really super important to me, especially because shortly after getting my very first BJD, I found a community, and it has become very, very important to me. The community itself, almost more important than any of my dolls. My dolls are important to me. They're incredibly important to me, but the community itself is more important to me. I would hate to lose my dolls. I would hate to lose the community and the friends that I have made even more. One of the people that I follow on YouTube introduced me not to the idea of, but the very specific verbiage that people are more important than things or ideas. Now, I am not going to announce her name. I don't know if she would like her name announced. She is more than welcome to comment down below if she would like her name announced connected to that particular quote. It is not my place to spread her name connected to that unless she wants it spread. But I very much endorse the quote, because people are more important than things or ideas. If you take it to a much more serious concept than dolls, wars have been started over things and ideas. So let's not do that. Let's make friends, you know? People have already made friends. I have made friends, dear, dear friends that I hold very close to my heart over these things, you know, these things we call dolls. So let's do that. Let's not wage battles, people. Let's spread love. Let's spread friendship. Let's build a true, honest community of friendship, compassion. If you, my grandmother said it best. That's how I was raised. If you don't have anything nice to say, let's just not. If you don't like someone's dolls, if you don't like someone's artwork, if you don't like someone's work that they're spreading on the internet, just nod your head, move right along. You don't have to say nothing. The community has become so important to me. It is one of the reasons that I have stayed on Instagram. It's not the reason that I have kept purchasing dolls. I have kept purchasing dolls and stayed with the BJD hobby for myself, which I think is very important. Everything that I do for myself, but I have been fortunate enough to be able to share it with other people that are like-minded, hence the community aspect of it. And I just wish people could be nicer about it. Now, I say that double-sided because I have been fortunate. I've met so many wonderful people, but I still see people every day sharing posts, making comments that they have been subjected to snarky, bad, lewd, or rude comments about a variety of different things, not so much connected to the dreaded R word. That's another topic for another conversation that I'm not even going to have, because I'm not even going to instigate that dreaded conversation. But a lot of these are just really nasty comments about how someone doesn't like someone else's doll, or it's ugly, or it's not painted well, or they didn't do a good job, or it could be done better, and it's not even constructive criticism. It's one thing to be constructive or to offer someone a suggestion, or how they could do it better next time, or how to improve, but to just be nasty about it, that doesn't help anyone out. It doesn't help them grow or prosper or improve or even get better in the hobby. And it definitely doesn't make them feel better as a human being. I think too many people feel insulated by the fact that they're typing on a screen and disconnected by the fact that there's a human being on the other side. Maybe it's because where I work and the line of work that I'm in, that I've dissolved this disconnection of screens. But please, yes, you're typing on a screen. There is a human being on the other side. You don't know me. Some of you do. Please take into consideration before hitting the send button on how exactly what you're typing is going to affect the other people. A lot of the people that may be watching this already take that into consideration and don't act like that. Maybe share the video with someone that's not taking that into consideration. Maybe this will just be ignored by people that don't take that into consideration, but maybe it'll make a difference for someone. That's what I'm hoping for. Because even if it makes someone, take that into consideration and not quite be so nasty to someone else, then I've done something. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm not trying to stand up on a soapbox and act like I'm any better than anybody else, but I have encountered dolls that I do not like. I have encountered artwork that I do not like. I have never messaged an individual and said, your artwork is ugly, your dolls are ugly, regardless of how much I disliked them. Because regardless if I don't like them or not, the other person does, that's why they did it. It's for them to enjoy, it's not for me to enjoy. Because, to be honest, William back here is ugly to somebody, but he's not to me, and that's the point. Just like Bernard over here. He's ugly to somebody, and that's totally acceptable. And I can fully support the sentiment. It's kind of the reason why I set up the table, because my workbench never looks like this. I put a variety of the dolls that I own back here for a couple of different reasons. I've got my collector's edition Wizard of Odd toddlers back there on both sides. They're ugly to somebody. I like them. I would not appreciate someone telling me they're ugly. And I'm sure, if the wrong person sees the video, they're going to tell me they're ugly down in the comments. That's fine. But I like them. but I would never tell someone else. And I'm hoping that maybe this part of the community that I'm seeing, because I'm seeing a lot of it here lately, will maybe stop. Because when I got into the hobby, I didn't see it quite as much. I don't know if it's because I've been in the hobby longer, I'm seeing more people, I've got more followers. I do not know. I don't know what's caused this huge induction of bitterness, and I find it so very sad, because there's really no point. Not to sound really, really sappy, but we really should just be all getting along. They are really just dolls. I know that's probably going to be a sore subject maybe for someone, or a terrible sentence for some people. They're not just dolls, but no one should feel so traumatized that they need to lash out over someone and physically attack someone over their dolls or their artwork, or a doll or an artwork that someone owns, to start talking about them as a human being. Follow me? Which I only do these resin rambles about every 2 weeks. And it's been about 3 weeks that I've seen all this, so I've not talked about it for about 3 weeks, so it's kind of all being flooded out into this video now. So I apologize if it seems like this first section of the video is so ranty about this particular topic, but I kind of wanted to get it out there, talk about it to the people that do follow me. And if some of you, don't appreciate this part of it, I will throw at the beginning of the disclaimer, a part to skip over this section, just in case you want to skip to the doll plans. That may make it easier on some people that actually wants to skip this part of the little rant on the terrible things that's in this part, the first section of the video. So, to get into a little more light-hearted part of the things going on with me in the hobby, with commissions and all that, I think I kind of discussed it in the last video. I went ahead and started the Impel doll, the Chad layaway, which of course that's obviously making its natural progressions, payments being made and the like. My goal is to get him paid off by towards the end of October, so he is shipping out by the beginning of November, and I see him well before December. So that's the strategy there. And then of course Doll Granado, if you don't know it, they've started an event where they are re-releasing several heads that previously closed out, which is like the Enoch, of course Remiel, which is it's Captain, I think is the theme behind him, and several other heads. I'm not going to call them out because I don't know them precise. I just know Enoch. I think Michael is one of them, because that's one of the ones I'm interested in. And I've considered purchasing 2 of the heads, Remiel and Michael, and starting a layaway on them too, just to get the heads, because I can always buy the bodies later, probably from Doll Granado, so the heads and the bodies match. Just because I really like the heads, and it's an opportunity to get the heads. But I'm not really sure. It's one of those things, they really wouldn't have a character assigned to them, but I could always either create a character for them later, shell them into something later. I just really like the head sculpts, and I know once they're gone, I would say they'd be gone forever, but obviously because the event, Michael's coming back, Remiel's brand new, so there could be an opportunity down the road. Just really not sure. if you follow Doll at all on Instagram, and I even think they've been tweeting them and doing it on Facebook, they've been releasing some kind of like sneak peek images of beautiful, beautiful head sculpts of these fantasy based, got giant horns. We've even released one that's a satyr with a sculpted beard, tiny horns on top. It's a male. Of course, obviously, Satyrion Leafspar, I'll have to get him. Which would become a satyr in my story. I haven't really done a story time tag. It'll probably be the very next video that I do. Give all of you an opportunity to get some footing and some familiarity with my story, how my characters tie into it. Like this guy back here, Bernard. I've got a really strong feel that he is either going to be shaman or a druid, leaning a little more towards shaman. Kind of tying into the white streaks in his hair. So, but they've got some beautiful fantasy sculpts coming out. I don't know what size they're going to be. I'm hoping they're definitely in that 68 to 70 centimeters, especially with the size my guys are. But again, that goes to with the whole buying more dolls. Don't really have characters for them. They're just really nice. I'm going to be covered under a landfall or an avalanche of dolls and resin, and I've very quickly become addicted to the hobby. Shortly after getting into the hobby, I've not even been in the hobby a year, and I almost wish I would have gotten into MSDs instead of SDs. But it wouldn't have really helped because of all these dolls that are coming out are SDs, and I probably would have just converted anyways. So, also kind of wanted to talk about the stuff that I do in commissions. I'm still doing commissions if anyone is interested. I've got the doll commerce packs. I've got the doll identity packs. One is centered around money, which is the commerce packs. Another one is the identity packs, which is centered around like passports and social security cards and driver's license. All of my packs run $10 because they're built around printing off a full sheet, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Some of the stuff gets laminated, some of the stuff does not get laminated. Just depends on what the items are. Everything's full color, blah 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 blah. You can message me on Instagram if you're interested in them. My Instagram does have pictures of them. I'll be uploading full details of what each pack is again in case anyone is interested in them. All the money goes right back into the hobby anyways to either create more commission-based items or to pay for dolls. I'm also going to start creating some more prop-based items that's not... They'll still be paper goods, meaning they're created out of paper, but I want to start creating some other items that's more... I've got the plans for cigarette packs, tea boxes, tea bags, cigarettes themselves, which I've made cigarettes for these guys, but it was they weren't, I don't want to call them mass produced. I'm not a factory, but I didn't have a process. I'm working on a process now where I can easily replicate what I'm doing. So if someone orders a cigarette and then 2.5 months later they need 3 more, they'll be able to get the same thing multiple times over. That's something that I've been working and gearing towards over and over and over again with anything that I produce, so that if anyone orders it down the road or their friend orders it, they can get the same thing. It's very, very important to me. Consistency, at least. So the process is nailed down, the printable is nailed down, and everything is consistent. I've even considered, I've just got to work towards the logistics of it, of selling the printable, the unfinished printable. It would be a little more expensive because it would allow someone to replicate the items an unlimited amount of time, but they would be unfinished. So you would buy it one time, you could print and make as much money as you want, or as many passports or as many social security cards, but they would be quite a bit more expensive because, again, they're replicatable, and all the work that I put into it in Photoshop and in GIMP and on my tablet went into those. So if that's something that you guys would be interested in, let me know down in the comment section below if that's something that you'd be interested as compared to buying the actual finished props. Just an idea. Obviously there would be no shipping, it'd be a digital download. So I'd have to figure out how to sell it. Obviously you could do a PayPal transaction and I could email you the completed download or the completed file. Everything I do is in PDF anyways. So another one of the things that I really wanted to kind of talk about that's not so much doll related or not so much craft related was, I guess it could be considered a little bit of a touchy subject maybe, is just being real. I was carrying on a conversation, person's name will not be mentioned. Being real and being authentic so much with yourself and with other people. I'm not talking about with dolls, and I'm not talking about with anything other than with your actual self. How you feel is how you feel. Be real about it. This goes all the way back to kind of the very first part of the conversation that I just had. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. If you want to do something, do it. If you want to own something, own it. If you don't want to own something, don't. Because you're only going to pay for it down the road. You're going to feel bad about it later, and there's no point in feeling bad about it. Be real and be true to yourself. It's so very important. I am not young by any stretch of the imagination, nor am I old. But I've lived long enough to know that if you're not honest with yourself, you're going to pay for it with how you feel. So if you want to do something, do it. If you don't want to do something, don't. Don't allow other people to pressure you into doing something that you don't authentically want to do for yourself. So like I said earlier in the video, whether I had the community or not, I would still be purchasing these dolls because I enjoy having them. The community is a happy side effect of the dolls. If I lost the community tomorrow, I'd still be getting them, owning them, working on them. I wouldn't be making clothes. Now, unfortunately, because I have lost the community, and when I say the community, I mean every single person that I have met and gained from the hobby. Kind of stretch that out there. Would be terribly sad. You know who I'm talking about, all of you. I would just have to go retail with everything that I purchased, or with everything that I would need for my dolls, and it would be terrible. But I would still do it because it's something that I want to do, and I do it for myself. I don't purchase my dolls for anyone other than myself. I don't get a specific doll because someone else has it. I get this doll because I wanted him for myself. If you see a doll that you want, regardless of what kind of doll it is, if you want it, get it. if owning that particular kind of doll would make you uncomfortable, or you think it would make you uncomfortable, don't get it. Because it's going to make you uncomfortable and you're going to pay for it down the road. Maybe you should wait and find a different kind of doll. Something that's not going to make you uncomfortable. Something that's going to make you happy. Because ultimately and realistically, that's what's important, is your personal happiness. And your personal happiness is going to show through to other people and how you interact with them, in my personal opinion. Others may disagree with me entirely. I only know from personal experience that when I am happy, others can tell, and I interact better with other people. When I am sad and withdrawn, I do not treat others quite possibly the best I should. So this all ties into the disclaimer I made in the very beginning of the video. All of these is my own personal thoughts and opinions, feelings and expressions. These are not fact. Just sharing these with you because for the past 3 weeks, these are things that have been kind of on my mind and wanted to get off of my chest. I like to come into these videos, and I want to start doing this a little more, because someone told me that if I would come into these videos like I was talking to a friend, maybe it would be a little therapeutic. So I'm trying it. So one friend to another, previous message elaborated, and I wish all of you the absolute best. I want all of you to love yourself and to try. You don't have to love one another by any stretch of the imagination. Tolerate one another. We're all in this hobby to enjoy our dolls, whether they're 1970s porcelain toddlers, Barbies, Monster Highs, Brats, Ever After Highs, BJDs, oversized vinyl fashion dolls according to the box, Obitsus. It doesn't matter. We're all in this hobby to play with dolls, maybe make a friend, hopefully lots of friends, have some good conversations, play with our dolls, and have a good time. So love yourself, tolerate one another, have a good night, and stay safe.